Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm so excited to have you here. By the way, my name is Faye Shaw and I'm the owner of Statuesque Events. We're a wedding planning company based in the DC metro area, but we service weddings all along the East Coast. By now, I'm sure you could tell that Tracy and Nana from last week's episode are a Christian couple and they do everything by faith. They even prayed before they hired me, right? So for this episode, I wanted to dive a little bit more into that and ask them a few questions about dating life while Christian and the first couple months of married life while Christian. Like, what about those things is different, and how is it that their faith strengthens their bonds? So stay tuned. This is going to be a really fun episode, just getting to know them a little bit better. And thanks a lot for watching. Now I wanted to chat about faith. Love and faith, right? I know that, first of all, there were many ways that we incorporated faith into the wedding overall. So we could chat about some of those. And then I also just wanted to dive a little bit into, faith while dating and faith when you're married. And basically just what tips you would give, because everybody always, I'm sure you've seen all the memes where people are like, oh, I want a copy of whatever prayer Sierra, prayed to God for Russell Wilson. And all those sorts of things where people make those memes. But I'm just curious, like, from your own perspective, like, what kind of prayers should we be praying and what kind of things should we be doing while we're single, but also dating and then marriage, and what changes in those periods?
Oh man, everything. You want to take a stab at it, or you want me to start?
You can start.
I'll speak to the singles first. Do not discount your single season. I learned so much about myself in my single season. My goodness. First of all, I had time to myself, which I don't have anymore. Okay. I could move when I wanted, go when I wanted, sleep when I wanted, wake up when I wanted. And I really began to know and invest in who God had me and created me to be. Which I think when you're so focused on marriage, it really just takes away from what God is doing in the now. Right now, what He's speaking to you, what He intends for you. Like, there are so many parts of your life that He wants to be birthed now, that He wants to see now, that the world needs now. So definitely make sure you're going to a Bible-based church. Be prayerful, be in your word, and find out who you are. My single season was finding out, like, who is Tracy? I had a whole identity shift. The person who I was when I emerged college and the person I was the day of my wedding, two totally different people. And it was really about identity for me and coming to who I am in Christ during the single season. As for courting and engaged season, what advice do you have?
Even back to single season, I think, like, you just have to really, truly, take that time for yourself and let God guide you each step. Because I feel like, most people, that's the best part of your life. It's kind of like on you. It's like, it's that time is for you, just for you to grow in Him. And most people discount that time, and it's like everybody's looking forward to the next chapter of their life. And sometimes you got to prepare yourself. Like, you got to use that moment to really prep yourself for what's to come. And sometimes the good work, the real work has to get done there. And then everything just start coming. Like, I remember the coach of mine used to always say, don't force your hand when you're playing a game. Like, don't force it. And that's like that single season. Don't force it. Like, people just want the next chapter. Like, oh, I need a man right now. I need a girl right now. Like, nah, you just enjoy that moment. Like, really, truly enjoy it, because it'll be like one of those last moments. And when God is about to elevate you, everything that you want will just come at a rapid pace. So don't stress it. Just enjoy that moment. And onto the dating and courting part, I think it also takes, like, even when you're dating, once you're in the dating phase, don't lose God. Don't lose sight of God. Don't rely on the other person so much to be everything. And not to say, oh, like, don't care for them or stuff like that. But I see you start falling in love and caring for them. Don't stop reading your Bible. Don't stop going to church. Don't stop relying on God for things. And always put God first. And, no matter what was happening, no matter good or bad, just don't lose that vision that he's probably set on your life, whatever you're doing in church before this person, or whatever whatever he had planted in you before this person came. Don't forget that. Don't leave that just to chase a person. Remember to stay still in God and let him reveal everything to you, every work that you guys have to do during that time, anything that you need to stop doing during that time. So it's a lot of growing pains even during that time. So, but at the same time, do your homework, your diligence, and everything, and prep yourself for the next step. Like if you're gonna be a husband, if you're gonna be a husband or wife, whatever, that's the next step. So prep yourself in that season 2 for that chapter of your life. So, yeah, and
I'll say 2 quick things. One, God will confirm who your spouse is. I cannot say that enough. It's not like, you hear a booming voice from heaven that says, that is your husband or that is your wife. But for the men, like the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It's, you will know your wife when you see your wife. You will know your wife when you encounter your wife. For the ladies, use your discernment. Be prayerful. Like if you seek God's face for God to show you, like, is this it? He can tell you. He will tell you. So don't think you have to be in this state of confusion. So many girls I talk to are like, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? And I'm like, well, God told me. That's the only way that this ended up happening, because I didn't want at this point in my life to do or be with anybody who wasn't God sent. Because if he's not sent from God, where's he coming from? You know what I mean? And I wanted to be in God's will. And so just don't forget that you can seek God's face, and you should seek God's face even before you get really too into it. Because if you get into it and you're head over heels and then that's not the one, why do you want to waste that time? It's, a lot of people say, oh, I learn everything from every relationship, and that's great. But it's not a Disney movie. You don't have to kiss 30 frogs to find the right one, right? Luckily, you only end up kissing 1 or 2. And praise God if it's only one and that ends up being yours. Okay, that was the goal. But yeah, and then I would also just say, just keep God in the midst of it, especially if you guys are both in faith. Like in courtships and engagement, it was not a walk in the park, and we had to pray some prayers. We went on a fast together in October while we were engaged, and I mean, it was one of the hardest but best things we ever did, because when you're on your way to a kingdom marriage, the devil wants to do and will do anything he can to stop it from happening. I mean, hits to our finances, family members suddenly dying. It was a very difficult time, and the only thing that kept us going was knowing the hand of God was on us. And that fast we did really broke chains. I mean, we were confident that we had broken generational curses, that we had dug up things that we both didn't even know about each other that God needed to deal with before he could make us one. It was a very intense time, and none of it was easy, but it was so worth it. And it's funny because I'm looking at the outside from everybody else's perspective. We just kind of like escalated and had a beautiful wedding and everything was wonderful. But what they don't see is what's going on behind closed doors. They don't see the nights you're on the phone, praying into the midnight hour, or the days of fasting, or the days of crying because you're tired. But when God is in the midst and he's in the middle, there's nothing that you cannot do, no matter how hard it feels or how hard it gets.
Wow. So no, it's just there was a whole lot of gems in that, like so many gems in that. Yeah, I just definitely a whole lot of gems in that. Some of that I can relate with. I'm realizing now I probably didn't tell you that I am dating someone. It happened like, I want to say,
had a whole conversation.
We had a whole conversation about love, relations, about all of this that we're talking about now. Yeah, I met him like a week before your wedding. Definitely relate with that. So I guess going back to like how do you get past growing pains when you're trying to blend 2 lives into one in a courting phase, or I guess even in love, like, because there's a lot of people watching these videos who are getting married or about to. So how do you work past growing pains? And I ask because if you look on social media, I feel like every day I open Instagram, someone's talking about cutting someone off. So I just wonder, like, how do you know when to cut someone off and when to work through a growing pain?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't be growing past or working past growing pains. You should be working through them.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, whether they're right or whether they're wrong for you, we knew, even from, I think, our college days.
Well, number one, if they're God sent, right, you'll be willing, it's from God. So, once you hear it's from God, once you know God has confirmed this person in your life, it's like, okay, so now you guys have to start working, but allow God to come be in the center of that union. And basically, once God is in the center, and you guys start praying together. That's the most important thing. You guys start learning how to pray together, start talking about things, and it's like not holding each other, not hearing what the other person has to say. I think that's the main thing. That was the main thing with us. Like, I think even though we knew each other from college, like she said, we knew each other in a different type of phase. And we always knew, like, it was something good about this. But at the same time, we were both like, at that age, you kind of want to see more life. You kind of want to do, like, whatever. We were definitely not ready for one another at that time. It was just a lot happening in college. But when God brought us back, it was like, okay, this is not just a coincidence. Like, this is just not, like, and it was at the right time. And it was on His time. And when it's on God's time, it's just like, your willingness to do some things, you'll be surprised. It's kind of on Him. That's why the most important thing is to have faith in God. And it's like wild to say. And at 21, definitely there was no faith. Like, it was like faith. It's like, God, but having faith in Him. Then it was just like, oh no, I'm not ready for this part. Like, it was like our union in college was just so wild. But like in the next chapter, we were able to speak, like to be able to talk. Like, it wasn't like we got into some big fights, but we knew, like, we were really, like, it would be like, okay, let's take a moment.
And I think the first thing he said, and I will co-sign it, was we were able to know to work through things because we knew that we were who God had for one another. And I feel like the sooner you know that, the sooner you know what you're doing and what you're not doing, what's worth it and what's not worth it. With dating, we both dated other people, right? We've done it. We did the heartbreak. We've done all the drama. And it was like, nobody was trying to do that again. And I people laugh when I say this.
We didn't do the heartbreak.
People laugh when I say it, but like, I would not have gotten through our courtship if God didn't tell me at the outset that He was my husband. Plain and simple. Wouldn't have gotten through because there were lots of challenges. The parts of yourself that you don't know are there will come out when you meet your soulmate. The parts of yourself that need to die, the parts of your flesh that literally need to be crucified, will come out when you're in the process of joining and becoming one flesh with your soulmate. So our courtship process, a lot of things were difficult. And there were a lot of, like he said, there were a lot of fights. There's lots of tension on different things. It is not easy to do it God's way, but that's what we were committed to doing. And so we did. But, that brings out the worst and the best in you, right? But again, we knew, there was no shadow of any doubt that this wasn't who God had for me. So it was easy for me to say, through my tears, I don't want to do this anymore. But God, you picked this for me. So like, at the end of the day, I knew that He was the best. Although the things that we want from each other, we don't even see now. Even in marriage, we're 9 months in. I know we're going to love each other even more in 5 years, in 10 years. The love will grow because you are literally being fashioned into that spouse. We are not the perfect spouse for one another. I can tell you that flat out. Things I have to deal with and change. There are things he has to deal with and change. And we are working at it every single day. And I know that the love will continue to grow. That love is a choice. People say that it's actually true. You literally have to choose to love. You have to choose to, not leave the dish in the sink if you know it's going to cause a fight with your wife. Or I have to choose to let him watch the game instead of bothering him to talk about whatever it is. Different things that you just won't know about somebody until you live with them. So the number one thing I will stress to anybody who is dating or you're courting, know as early as you can, is this from God, is this not? If it's not, leave. I don't care how many feelings you've caught. I don't care what you've done, what you've said. No soul tie cannot be broken, or every soul tie can be broken. If you've already developed one, get out. If it's not God said, get out, because what you're doing is delaying what's on the other side.
Hey, bro, let me know one thing, or if you can't narrow it down to one, you can add another, that is your favorite thing about the other person.
I'll go first. Oddly enough, as much as he gets on my nerves, I genuinely think he's hilarious. The way his thought process is, and the things that he says, I feel bad for the people who don't know him. Because the thing is, if you don't, Nana can be very introverted, but spend a couple minutes around him. Some of my church family look at me wait, yo, Nana's a comedian. I'm y'all don't know. He's really funny. I think all of his jokes are hysterical. I don't think I've ever been in a space with him where he has been saying something funny and I haven't been laughing. As corny as it is, because I know sometimes it's he's just mad corny too. But I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. He can make me laugh, and I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Nana kind of slid you gently under the bus at the wedding, and he was like, "Okay, I already finished doing my thanks in English. Now Tracy's gonna do it in Tree." I hope she's fluent. I hope she's fluent.
When we were saying that thank you. Yeah. I forgot all about that.
I thought that was funny. I was I hope she's fluent.
Child, bye. I'm sure not.
My favorite thing about Tracy, she's one of those people, she's not as funny. She's not funny like me, but she is she is the person that keeps everything organized. She is so good at organizing stuff. Let's do this. She checks all the boxes and everything. So she makes me leave confident every day we did not leave anything behind. She makes sure about that, because I just usually just go by a glance in my head check, and she's one of those people, and which is good, which is good. But I think to people she's extra, but it's really good. It works for us. She's really good at that. And yeah, and I'm calm. She likes to talk to people, so sometimes it's good, So I just get to see her talk, and then I always have passion. I get to sit, leave it quiet, slow. But she's a good host, and she's a people person. I tell people all the time, Tracy, if she ran for president, she'd definitely get some votes. She's a people. she's a people's choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll add the whole organizational thing for all of the wives to be. It is an acquired skill. It's we got married and we moved in. I remember it was the first night or second night, and I looked at me. He's "What's for dinner?" And I was that's. And from there, it was I'm realizing that the capacity that I thought I was going to come in was just wasn't going to cut it. So growing in what does a home need? I mean, we are very, very good. Women have a large capacity to multitask, to do lots of things at the same time. It's true. No, it's true. It's biblical. Read Proverbs 31 and then come back to me. The work of our hands. When Nana goes to sleep, I'm thinking, all right, I'm planning out the meals for the week. I'm thinking about the boxes that we still have that we need to open. I'm thinking about how we're going to organize the apartment, what needs to go in the closet, the cleaning that I'm going to do a week in advance, like all of these things, you know what I mean? And it didn't happen overnight. So that was part of the challenge of me coming home to be like, wait, this house is in a home. And it's like, but it's my job to make it a home. So all of the wives to be patient with yourself, especially if like me, you were living with your mom until you got married and she cooked for you and did all that stuff. Be patient with yourself and be patient with your spouse, because it will all come.
Nice. All right. So any parting words about how to be successful in wedding planning?
Have fun. You know, I think sometimes I look back, I really wish sometimes we paused to have fun a little bit more. It was kind of like, okay, let's get this done, you know, you stay full. But remember, you guys are trying to get to an end goal for the both of you guys, so you guys can start something new. So do not, don't enjoy every moment of it. Like, enjoy, speak to each other. Don't try to even, like, I think some things are like, oh, this is just for the men, this is for the women. Like, try to see what your fiance is doing and what you can help with. Just always be an ear for her to, you know, whatever she needs to do. Like, just even if you just have to listen, sometimes you just have to sit through and just listen to her. And yeah, looking back, I really wish we had fun more, or we spoke on some things more, like, so, you know, just make sure we're all right. Like, cause it's a lot happening. There's a lot going through in your head. And I think, just take the time and enjoy this moment. Cause, you know, it goes by fast. And and listen to your wedding planner. Yeah.
Parting words for me, the tall one, is just to remember that the wedding is just going to be one day, and then you have to live together. You have to have a lifetime together. So don't just plan for the wedding. Start planning for your life. Plan for your future. What are your money goals? What kind of debt are you trying to get out of? Like, start talking about that stuff while you're engaged. What do you guys want to talk about? Finances. I don't care if you're a budgeter, your spouse or to be is a budgeter. Like, y'all have to have the hard conversations, have them early, because the wedding is just, it's kind of like your trial run of like, all right, let's see if we can do an event together. And then whether you succeed or fail, you're still going to be married at the end of the day. And then you have a life. You have rent or a mortgage. You're both working.
Don't forget.
Oh, right. Sorry, I tend to start. Well, that's how you have fun while you're wedding planning. Remember that you're thinking about your entire life.
All right. So, I mean, I really appreciated that because it says a lot about your personalities. Nana's like, oh yeah, have fun. And Tracy's like, plan.
I guess they know who to come hang with.
I can have fun too, everybody.
No, I had a lot of fun with Tracy. This is, so I can vouch for her. I can vouch for her on that.
And I could not have done nothing without Faye. So book her. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, and make sure you get flowers that are in season. That's one thing I've learned.
Yeah. Oh, actually, thank you, babe. Practical advice.
Yeah.
Listen, there are things that you're going to want to pick the things that you care about. The things that you don't care about, don't spend a lot of money on. Simple. Make things easy. The venue, the fact that we were able to walk in, choose a venue, and leave, that was a load off of my shoulders. Walk in, pick the dress, leave, that's a load off of our shoulders. We really cared about photography, so that was the bigger expense, right? We didn't care so much about videography or...
Still haven't seen the video. To get to see it.
Pick and choose. If you don't care about decor, then don't go to town on decor. You have to know the things that you guys really care about, come into agreement about the things you care about, and then that's where you can spend more time on. You can't, and not everything is going to be perfect, But it will be perfect because you guys are getting married, and that's what it's all about. And your family and your friends and God will be there with you, and that's what's most important. So give yourself less things to stress about. Things you care about, that's what you focus on. The other things, Faye's got you. All right? Faye's got you.
I think that's excellent advice. Excellent advice. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much again for watching today's episode. Now, you already know what I'm gonna say. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Subscribe to the channel because we've got another couple coming up next week and you don't want to miss it. So make sure that you subscribe. And if you haven't already watched it, make sure you watch the rest of the series. We've gone through a lot of really fun couples and great weddings, so you want to make sure you watch it, all right? So before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click back and watch past episodes, all right? So thanks so much for watching and I can't wait to see you again next week.